Hello everyone, welcome back to FS Auto Vlogs. Hope you're all safe and healthy. So today I'm at an undisclosed location, and you might already know which car I'm sitting in due to the title of the video. So I'll just tell you, I'm here to take a look at the brand new 2022 Genesis GV70, and thanks to Wallan Hyundai for cooperating with me and allowing me to make a video with this car. So Wallan, if most of you might not know, since you might be watching from outside Saudi Arabia, so Wallan are the dealers for Hyundai specifically here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In other cities there are different dealers, but here specifically they are Wallan. So thanks to them for allowing me to make a video with the car. And if you enjoy videos like these, don't forget to hit subscribe, and also do turn on your notifications so that you'll be the first ones to know when I upload the latest videos. And while you're down there subscribing, do also hit the like button. So now let's get out of the car and I will showcase the car itself. Alright guys, so here's the 2022 GV70. Sorry if you hear a bit of the background noise, because I am here on a main road, so obviously there will be cars passing by and some of those sound will come in. So first let's talk about the design of this car. So the design of the GV70 obviously resembles all the other Genesis products or its siblings, and the car it most resembles is the G70 because it's the SUV version of that particular car. So you can see, like, unlike the other like GV80s and G80s which have more sharper design, the GV70 and G70 have a more rounded design, just to give it that more youthful look and sporty look. So that's how we know that it has a bit more driver focus and a bit of a not less you can say, but a bit less focus on luxury but more on the sporty characteristics. So let's talk about the design. So the design itself, again, you have the rounded fenders with the trademark Genesis parallel headlights. So you can see how the indicators work, and you have your headlight element here. The high beam will work from here. That's how the high beam works. Then I'll show you how the daytime running lamps look. So the daytime running lamps are obviously again the same way the indicators work, but they have constantly they will be on obviously. And you have some design elements inside the headlights. You can see you have some diamond patterns and it looks really good. And the color is really good on this Genesis because it's in red color, and this red, I think it is metallic. Let me just see. Yeah, it is metallic. I hope you can see the flakes shining in the sunlight. I'm not sure if you can catch it properly, but there you can see the flakes. So that's how the paint looks. It looks really good in the sunlight, but due to the extreme heat I have to keep the car in shade. Then we come to the main part of the design itself, and that's the Genesis grille. So the Genesis grille is pretty nice and pretty huge on this GV70, considering it's an SUV, so they have to keep it that big. One thing that actually makes me a bit sad is that the number plate holder hides the grille, or it sits in the middle of the grille. Because of that, there's a bit of a break in the grille design and it destroys the look. Then you have your camera here for your 360 degree, and you have your radar sensors here, and you have all open vents all around. These parts of the vent are closed off, as you can see here, but you have side vents here which obviously help to smooth the airflow down the side. So this one is actually the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, and it is the sport trim. It's the highest end trim you can get in the GV70. So let me just show you some other design characteristics. Now this is the hood. Obviously it has nice creases going on around it, and with the Genesis badge you can see how the hood creases come from the middle of the hood and join the wings over here. It does look really good. One thing I'm not so keen on is this part here. I don't know why Genesis did that. I'm sure their designers are very capable of integrating that much more cleanly, like they did on the G70 itself. This just looks like it's a bad design job, and obviously like it looks like there was some problem in the parts and they don't fit properly because they don't sit flush. That just makes me sad a bit, because otherwise this car just looks really good. So that was all on the front. Now let me just show you the engine bay. So here's the engine bay. It's a bit dusty because the car was outside. So you have a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 and it produces 375 horsepower and around like 391 pound-feet of torque. That's like 540 Newton meters. So because of that, it allows the engine, it allows the SUV to go from 0 to 100 in around 5.5 seconds. And also it is mated to an 8-speed transmission, and also the power goes to all 4 wheels because it has all-wheel drive. So that's all on the part of the engine. You also get a 2.5 liter turbo petrol. That's a 4-cylinder model. But if you want sporty driving characteristics and you want a lot of power, it's best to go for the V6. Then you have some engine bracing here, which obviously helps to, the engine bracing helps to keep the engine bay area stiff, so that in spirited driving, that part of the area doesn't flex a lot. So that's something you know now. So let's close the hood and talk about the side design now. Okay, so from the side, the design does look really good. You have a nice sporty coupe shape, and because of that the roofline swoops down a lot, and it looks really good and sporty. So let's talk about the tires first. So you can see we have Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires, which are SUV, which are specifically for SUVs. These are 255 section tires, and they are sitting on 21-inch wheels, so pretty huge. But on a SUV like this, it does look pretty good. And the design of the wheels, some might say that a dust might catch here, but I don't think so. It just looks good. You can easily clean it off, and it just looks made for this car, and it suits the characteristics of this car, the sporty characteristics. And you have pretty large brake discs and the Genesis branded brake calipers, which also look good. So let's talk about the side window profile now. So you have a nice window line which goes from here all the way. So it goes around, then it comes back up, and then it flows, instead of coming back down here, it flows into the rear 3/4 and goes like this. And that is something not seen before on any other SUV. So it's a nice design take on the window line itself, and it makes it look more unique, and also it exaggerates the coupe shape of this SUV itself. Then you have the side mirrors, which are mounted here itself on the door. So because of that, you have a bit more visibility on here while you're parking, so that you can avoid the curbs. But that's what the cameras over here are for. You have your indicators here and pretty big side mirrors. Then you can see the door, the side design does not have a lot of body lines on it. It just has one crease that flows all the way from the hood and goes here. Otherwise, it's a nice bulbous shape and it looks really nice. You have some black, piano black over here, which just breaks up the design a bit and makes it look good. Then at the back, we have the same size tires, I believe. Let me just check. Yep, 255 section tires, again 21 inches. So you have the same size tires on all 4 corners, so that looks good. Then let's come to the back. So the back design is one of my favorites of this GV70 in particular. I love how the tail lights are designed, and they go all the way to the side over here. Then you have Genesis written proudly in the middle. You have your 4-wheel drive badge and 3.5 liter twin turbo or turbo design, turbo badge. Then let's come, you have your GV70 badge here also. So, and like I said before, Wallan are the dealers for here, for Hyundai here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The design does look good, but one thing I'm not so keen on is this fake vent design. It is plastic, but I don't know why they did it. It follows all the way from here, and that's something I do not like. They could have just made it plain black and it would have looked just as good. Then you can see your exhaust. So what I'll do is I'll just rev the car out, and so that you hear the noise a bit properly. But before that, you can see you have your other backup camera here. Your license plate holder is actually integrated much better on the rear, and you have a bit of a diffuser design here. Those are your reverse lights, and these are your indicators. Then that's all at the back. Now I'll just showcase you the brake design. Just a minute. Okay, so the brake light, this is how the brake light looks. You can see it goes all the way at the back. It flows, and because of that, it has a very unique third brake light signature, not available on most of the cars, and it makes it a lot unique, and it looks even better at night. Since we are in daylight here, it doesn't show up that nicely, but it looks really good. What I'll do now is I'll showcase the sound to you guys. So just a minute. Okay, so now I'll show you the sound. hope you could hear the sound. It does sound really nice. So now that we're done with the design of the rear, I think we should take a look at the cargo space inside. Now one thing I'm not so sure of is how they have integrated this rear wiper. I hope they could have done that or hidden it over here. It would have looked much neater, but for some reason they decided to do that, so it's okay now. Then to open the tailgate, you have the button integrated here. It just makes it easier to reach. So let's open it up. There we go. So that's how the tailgate opens. It's electrically operated. So as you can see, we have a nice square shape inside, and you have a decent amount of space. I think with the seats up, you have like 540 liters of space, and with the seats down, you can obviously fold the rear seats. With that, you have around 1600 liters of space. So a pretty good amount of space. But one thing that concerns me is that due to the shape of the boot, you can see it's wider on this side, and then the rear wheel arch come inside the boot space. So the way you might load luggage might that might hinder the way you load your luggage actually, because it's not that wide, and you might have to adjust it a bit to utilize the space. So the carpet, we can move it obviously, and you have some underfloor storage. That's where the parcel shelf is kept, and you have some tire repair kits. That's done. So that's all to show on the cargo space area. So now what we'll do is, one thing I forgot to tell, you can see with the way the load floor is connected, you can easily slide out your luggage and you don't have to lift it out of the boot space. So that's something nice. Also, you have your 12-volt socket here, you have your lights, and this is your lever to fold down the seats. So that's all. And here's how you close the tailgate. So there we go, it closes up. So now that we're done with the exterior of the car, I think we should go ahead and take a look at the interior. Okay guys, so let's talk about the interior of this car, or SUV in general. So one thing I like about the doors is that when you open the doors, you can see how low or all the way down they open. That means they cover the side sill on the full. So basically, if you go through a muddy area where there's a lot of mud and water collected, what that will help is all the dirt will be collected on outside over here. But when you open the door, this part of your car will be clean. And for example, if you are getting out, your trousers and all will not get dirty, or denims or trousers, whatever you wear, and they will be clean because all the dirt will be on the outside. So nice touch by Genesis. Then let's talk about the door trim quality, which I do always. So you can see you have soft touch leather with red stitching. That's really nice, and I like the way how the stitching is oriented. It looks nice and parallel. There's no crookedness in the stitching also. Then you have red leather here on the armrest side, and you can see because it has the two-tone design, you have red here, and again nice and soft. You have your you have a bit of a metal trim or aluminum trim which goes from the side here. Then again you have your aluminum door handles with your speakers here. Then you have your memory seat controls, your window controls, your side mirror controls, and something I particularly like, the carbon fiber trim. So you can see how they have integrated the carbon fiber, and this is not a weave that you commonly see in carbon fibers. You see that different kind of weave that's mostly common, but this is a different take on it, and it looks good because of that. Then you have more speakers here. Again, it's in soft touch material, and you have Lexicon speaker system in this car. Then you have a decent size door pocket, and I'm not sure if I can show it to you, but you can see how the ambient lighting is inside the door pockets also. So very nice touch. Also one thing, this carbon fiber trim continues all the way on the side as well. Then let's come to the seats. Before the seats, you have your Genesis logo on the side sill plates. Looks good. Then the seats themselves, you have nice and soft leather. It's in red, red obviously. It's a darker red, not a very bright red like the Ferrari interiors, but this is a nice dark red which looks good. You have a nice diamond quilting inside. These are obviously ventilated seats, and you have your lumbar controls here. You have your backrest adjustment here. This is your thigh adjustment. You can see how it moves the thigh rest forward and back, and this is your massaging function. So now what we should do, I think, is take a seat inside, and I'll tell you about the interior. Okay guys, so I am in the interior of the Genesis GV70, and one thing I wanted to show you is how the stitching lines up across all the way over the dashboard. That is these small types of design touches is what I like a lot, and it flows all the way over there. Also that silver trim which I showed you before on the doors, it flows through the AC vents. It goes on top of the instrument cluster and again flows all the way into the door to the sides. Again, a nice touch. So in terms of quality, you do have a lot of quality. These are all soft touch plastics. This is not leather, I believe, because it feels like plastic to me. Maybe it is leather, so maybe, I think so, but it is soft to touch and it looks really good. You have this massive screen in the middle, so this is something new for the GV70. Also, this is also the updated screen which you get on the new 2022 G70 also. So before it had a smaller screen, but now all the Genesis products get this big screen, but we'll come to that later. So again, soft touch here all the way. You have that red stitching which I talked about before. Have your hidden air vents, again good. Then all the red leather is again covered over here, and it feels nice with the touch and nice and soft all the way again. And one thing I like, I hope you can see it properly, you can see how this oval shape continues all the way here and it covers this part of the dashboard, which makes it look nice and cohesive. And on the side you do have some buttons. You have your hill descent control, you have your traction control button, this is to open your tailgate, and you have your electronic parking brake here, and this is obviously for your display brightness settings, so you can increase your brightness from here. So that's all. Then let's talk about the instrument display first. So this one, it has the 3D effect. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly on the camera, but the 3D effect is clearly on. And also one thing, you can see how the sensor over there has those this part has that infrared sensor which is constantly observing the driver if they're attentive or not, and that's how also the 3D effect works. Because of that constantly, sensor constantly looking at your face, it can orient the instrument dials itself according to that. Then let's talk about the display now. So I think this is a 12-inch display, and this is how the rev counter moves. It moves backwards like in Aston Martins. You have your speedometer here, you have your trip, this is your fuel economy, that's your range, your fuel meter, and this is your engine temperature and your odometer. Now you have some functions, and to control that you have your buttons here on the steering wheel itself. So you can hit mode over here, and let me just wait a second. Okay, that was for using the heads-up display actually. So this is one for the instrument display. There we go. So now that's showing navigation. I can change to all the tire pressure systems. Then I can change to all my active safety systems, which will show up here. I can obviously change through that, I believe. Let me just check. Yeah, to move in the tire pressure, you have actually more settings. So in the tire pressure, you can see your oil temperature, also your torque, your turbo boost pressure. Then this is your contents configuration. Then you have your trip computer, your another part of the trip computer. This is your attention level. That's what I said, these infrared sensor will see how attentive you are while driving. Then you have your tire pressure again. This is, I think, how the four-wheel drive system works. It shows how the torque is distributed, I believe. That's what it is. So that's all. Then the display also has its own configurability. That means you can change how the display looks. So that's how you do that, by changing the driving modes. So you have your control here for the driving modes. So right now we are in sport, comfort eco. It's not changing. I'll come back to that later. Just a minute. Okay, so this is how the cluster looks now in eco. Then you can change down to comfort and it changes like that. Then you can go down to sport. So those are your sport displays. Then you have sport plus, which again turns off the traction control and opens the exhaust valve. I believe in sport plus mode you also have launch control in this car. Then you have your individual or custom driving modes. Also, since this is an SUV, you have the terrain driving modes, which you can access by pushing down here. And when you push, you have the option of snow, mud and sand, or you can push it again, go into drive, eco and comfort. Then you have your light controls on this side. Now they are in auto setting, and I like the way how they have this attached metal piece here, and it's knurled. It gives you a nice grip and also feels high quality, something that the Genesis brand is known for. Then again, this is your windshield wiper controls, again with that same knurled finish. Then the steering wheel itself is nice and thin, good to hold, and it feels nice and light currently. In comfort and sport, I believe it does tighten up a bit. Then you have your paddle shifters. They are plastic, but they are pretty good and they feel nice and clicky. Then this part is a bit I don't like it because it's piano black and it catches fingerprint pretty fast. They could have made it matte black, it would have looked good also. Then you have the silver trim here. Then you have the Genesis badge located in the middle, and I like how sporty this steering wheel is. Because this is the sport trim, you get this steering wheel. If you go for the standard trim, you get a 2-spoke design which is pretty wide in the middle. That is something I do not like. I like this Genesis steering wheel much better. Then you have a heads-up display. Let me just zoom in into it. You can see it over there. That's your heads-up display. Then that's done. Now let's come to the center console. So in the center console itself, you have your start button here, and this button is something new Genesis has introduced with the GV70. That's your fingerprint sensor. Now with the fingerprint sensor, you can log into your system and the car will remember your seat position, the driving modes you like, and it will set up the car how you like it. So obviously that will save your settings, or you obviously have to save your settings into that. And when you, for example, you have lent the car to someone and they change all the settings, you can just log in via your fingerprint and the car will set up to your preference. So that is something really nice. Then we'll come to that in a bit. This is your climate controls. So I like how they have integrated the climate controls in one nice screen. So you have your seat ventilations. Currently I have them on, but you also have seat heating, something we don't need here in Saudi Arabia actually. Then you can control your temperature via this dial here, and currently it's synced, so you can see the temperature changes on both the sides. So it's 2-zone here, and I believe it's 4-zone at the back as well. Then you have your fan controls here. This is how you control how the ventilation flows. You can turn on how the airways flow. You can also control the rear from here. So I believe yeah, the rear is only 1 zone, so you have in total a 3-zone climate control on this car. And I believe you can see how the ambient lighting flows over here. Since it's a bit of a daylight, that's why the ambient lighting is not showing up that well, but you can see how they have integrated it over here. You have some shortcut buttons for your screen. So the screen is nice and responsive. This is your home screen, which will be in general. It shows your temperature, any radio controls that's open, and it shows your map and time. You just swipe across and it obviously showcases all your apps. It's nice and responsive. So you can see your map here. You go into that nice wide screen. Then you can go into home here. You can also control the infotainment via this dial here, and it has your volume and tuning scrolls here, and some shortcut buttons as well. And this also acts as a touchpad if you want to enter any navigation destination. Then you have your radio, media, phone projection, because this car has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, so that's nice. You have your settings, sounds of nature, seat controls. In seat controls, I believe you have your passenger seat controls. You can adjust how the cushion height and all that stuff. Then you can go into quiet mode. You have a climate control, terrain mode, all that stuff. So you can check over here. Now if I go into terrain mode, let me just check a bit. If I go into sand, you can see how that changes. Now it's in sand. Then this is for mud, and this is for your snow. So in mud, you can see it automatically turns on the hill descent control, and also it shows you your gyroscopes, which show how the car is in which angle. So something very nice. And it also shows you a compass, so pretty good. That's something really nice from Genesis. It's well thought of. And you have your manuals. So that's all there is to show. It's a general Hyundai Genesis system. It's also available in Kias as well. Then down here again, there's the drive mode. To control the drive modes, you go up and down from here. And if you want to go into terrain, you just push here and again go back and forth, and again push back to go into drive. This is for your parking sensors if you want to switch them on or off, and this is for your parking cameras. So this is how they look. Currently this is showing the rear camera. Then I believe you can also check the blind spots. I mean, those are your rear tires. Then you can check a bit more from a top down view. Then it does have a 3D view, so you can see how the car is in the same color as our test car. So it looks really good and high quality. Because of that, I believe I can change it to the front camera. So now it goes into the front camera if you go into drive. So this is the front camera view. Now this is a wide angle view. This shows you the wheels, and I believe when I turn the wheel it will showcase it here. Yep, that's how it shows up. And also you have another top view, and also the guidelines will move when you turn the wheel itself, and you can again go into your reverse here. Then again you have that same 3D mode, and you can go into home from here. Then what else we have? You have your gear selector. So like I showed you, you go into clockwise mode for your drive, a half click for neutral, and go all the way for reverse. Then you go press P over here and it goes into the parking. You have your auto hold button here. And one thing I forgot to show you, this car does have the blind spot assist. So when you turn on your indicators, it shows you the blind spot on either side. So that's something you know now. That's something pretty common in all the new Hyundais and Kias nowadays. Then you have a small cubby hole here where you have your two USB ports. You have your wireless charging where you can keep your phone directly like this, and you can close it up. It's all in this soft leather material. Then you have your two cup holders, and in the cup we have the Genesis key. So in here in Saudi Arabia we don't have two functions, that is the remote parking assist where you can push the car forward or reverse if you want to remove it or put it back into a tight parking space. I believe you only get that in the US and also the Korean market. We don't get that here in Saudi Arabia. So the cup holders are a nice decent size. Then you have your armrest, which is nice and soft, and to open it you have a button here. You just push that and it opens up. You have a nice deep space with your 12-volt socket here, and you have a cubby hole or cubby tray inside. So that's all there is. Let's just close it up. Then you have your glove box, which is nice and damped, I think so, and it's lined with felt because obviously it has all the products, anything you keep like keys or phone, anything, it won't rattle around and scratch up. So that's done. Then you have your rear view mirror, which is something I like. The rear view is frameless. Then you have your controls for your lights, which you can press here, and you can see how the LED lights up, and this is nice, this pattern. And it looks really good. You can turn them off here. You can turn on your door lights also from here. This is your control for your sunroof. You can see it opens up all the way like this, and also you can just control it from here. You can also control the blinds as well. Okay, so that was the control on the sunroof. I don't know, for some reason it was having an issue. Then you have your visors here, standard visors. You have your mirror, and you have your LED lights. Then what else now in terms of space? Now generally the GV70 is bigger than the G70 sedan, because the new G70 is actually just a refresh of the older G70 model. It's just a facelift with the new design language, but the GV70 was designed from the ground up, so it didn't have any issues for the space. So let me, in general, right now in my driving position, I don't feel cramped in this car. I did feel cramped in the G70, but not in this SUV. Then in terms of headroom, the seat is obviously set to its lowest position, but you can see I have enough headroom even while wearing the cap, and I can sit comfortably. And also in terms of visibility, now this is my point of view. You can see I can clearly see the sides of this car. I can clearly place the car because of this visibility here. And looking at the rear view mirror, that also looks good, and I don't have any issue with visibility. So that's all there is to show in the front. Now what I'll do is I'll hop in the back seat and we'll take a look at the space behind. Okay guys, so I'm in the back seat of the Genesis GV70. So the door trim quality is similar to the door trim in the front, with all high quality and soft touch materials. You have that same carbon fiber trim as well here, and all the aluminum trims as well, with the window switches, the door handles, the speaker system. You have the same speaker surrounds as well. You have a decent amount of door pockets, and decent size of door pockets. And you have your privacy shades, which are manual, but they block out the sun pretty well. So that's all there is to show. Now in terms of space, now the driving seat is set to my driving position. I am 6'4" or 195 centimeters, and the problem is something I always face in other cars as well, or small cars. I know this is a compact SUV, so that is a problem I will face. So you can see my knee room is next to, it's non-existent actually. I have to sit by wide spreading or man spreading my legs across the back of the seat. And one thing you can see, modern ergo seats, Genesis. These front seats are good for your back. And in terms of headroom, I do have enough headroom even at the back seat. Even though the sunroof is there, I don't have an issue. So that's something really nice. Then you have your door handles here with your lights, and that's all. Now the seats in themselves, they have the same quilting as in the front, and they feel nice and high quality and soft to the touch. Then you have your air vents in the middle, you have your fan control, temperature control, and you have your heated seats. We don't have ventilated seats at the back, I mean cooled seats at the back. Then you have your armrest, and nice and soft with your cup holders integrated in the front, because of which you can easily hold your easily you can rest your elbow. So that's all. And then you have your seat back pockets, they are just nets. Then one other feature you have is this buttons over here, which can move the front passenger seat forward and also move the backrest forward. For example, if someone sits here and there's no one in the front passenger seats and they need more space, they can use those buttons to create more space. So that's all in the back. Now what I'll do is I will be showcasing the first drive of this car. Now this is something for the first time I'll be doing on my channel. I'm not a professional journalist, so I won't be able to tell every small detail of this car, but what I can tell is how I feel from the point of view of a customer. So let's now cut to the first drive. Okay guys, so this will be the first drive on my channel of the GV70. So I'll not be as good as a professional journalist in terms of my words and how I feel about the car, but what I can say is from a point of view of a customer, how I feel about this car, how comfortable is it. So I can say that. So now let's put it into drive, and let's hit the indicator and let's move out. Go out. Okay, so in terms of visibility, as I was saying, it does feel really nice, and I can easily see any cars that are approaching behind me or from the sides, and even in the front the view is really nice. Now going through some bad roads, I feel like the smoothness of the car or the suspension, currently I have it in my sport driving mode or comfort driving mode actually. So because of that I do feel really nice, and the suspension feels really soft in terms of how the bumps it's handling. And now we are coming up to a U-turn. So over here I can tell you a bit about how the turning feels or how light the steering wheels while turning. So let me just look around and let's turn. So the steering is really light in comfort mode and I feel really good. Now this is the first time I'm driving such a powerful car, like 375 horsepower. This is the most powerful car I have driven so far. So that's why I'm just taking it a bit carefully. The speeding laws here are very strict, so that's why I'm keeping a lookout for any other vehicles or speeding cars, and I'm trying to keep it within the speed limits of this. So right now going through some rough roads, and the suspension feels really good and it's in comfort. So now let's switch to Sport Plus, and you can instantly feel how the engine revs up a bit more. The seats hug you, and the throttle response is instantly more immediate. The car wants to go fast, it tells you via the throttle pedal, and by giving it a bit of a race or revs, the car eagerly just wants to go fast. But I have to keep in control. There are a lot of speed limits on this road, and also the fines are pretty high here. But in terms of driving, I like how the way the seats are hugging me in Sport Plus mode. It just makes me feel more secure. So that is something really nice, and that's all. Also, the steering wheel is now pretty heavy, or more direct, I can say. The feedback I'm getting from the steering wheel is much more direct in terms of how I feel I can place the car much better instead of in comfort. In comfort it was pretty light, the steering wheel. In sport I do feel like I am placing the car much better. It feels a bit more twitchy. So that's how I feel about it generally. Now let's push it back to comfort, and instantly all the car relaxes. Overall the gear shifts are much smoother, the car holds the revs a bit lower. So that's how the comfort mode works here. Now in terms of the roads, we don't have a lot of curvy roads or country roads here in Saudi Arabia. Most of them are just straight roads. So all I can show in terms of straight line, performance, it just has a lot of power, and when you flex the right foot a bit, it does jump forward a bit very nicely, and also the brake feels really nice and grabby, so you can easily drive it fast. So if you're a customer looking to buy this car, I think you should just go ahead, right ahead and buy it. I don't think in the price this thing has, the competitors that are the BMW X3 and also the I believe is the Jaguar, it's not the Jaguar F-Pace, then it's the actually X3 and also the Q5 or Q5, and also the Volvo XC60. So in terms of those cars, they are much more expensive than the Genesis, but what I think is this is for the price this thing is, it's much more better value in terms of the money and performance it provides in compared to those Germans and the other Swedish cars. Obviously the BMWs are faster, the Audi interiors might be much more better in terms of quality, but this is a well-rounded package, and I believe you will be very happy if you go with this car or SUV, and I highly recommend it. If it was my money, I would just buy this car in a heartbeat. I really like the Genesis products, so I think this is now one of my favorite Genesis products overall. And on that note, I will end the video. One thing I wanted to say, if you're watching my videos for the first time, do consider subscribing and also hit the bell icon so that you'll be the first ones to know when I upload latest videos. While you're down there, do hit the like button. The more you guys appreciate my video by liking it and subscribing, the more my channel can be recognized and I can get access to much more higher end cars, and because of that I might be even able to drive a supercar one day and get more cars for test drives like these. Thanks for watching the video guys, and do follow me on Instagram also. I will leave the link in the description as well. So that's all, bye bye.